Well, you don't see this every day. Kotaku is dead. The news article or gaming news website is pretty much throwing in the towel for any political discourse, for anything out there. They are now only going to write, you got it, video game guides at a rate of 50 a week, which is absolutely absurd. I don't even think you can play 50 games in a week. So this is essentially their death knell. They are done. Kotaku will no longer be taking up the space and no longer attacking gamers out there like they've done for many years, and I'm not surprised. Well, if you like to hear this news, let me know down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I cannot emphasize this enough. The more you subscribe, the bigger we grow and the more reach we can have and actually bring some stories that have meaning behind them. Jen Glennon? Is that how you pronounce that last name? I don't even know. Some personal news. I've resigned from Kotaku. Jim Spanfeller is a herb. From my estimations, is some sort of insult. It is an insult, apparently even out there. If you don't know what this is, you're a herb too. But it's an insult towards the majority of people that are not part of the minority. It's an absolutely ridiculous statement when it comes down to it. And coming from Kotaku editors and the people that work around there, I am not surprised they have these views. But once owned by Gawker Media, they became CO Media with Gizmodo. Kotaku is hanging up the towel. They're no longer going to be pushing political content. They're no longer going to be looking at gamers to attack or to defame or to spread lies over. I'm not surprised out of any of this, especially with the going on with what we've seen in Sweet Baby Inc. and the push on the gaming world. Kotaku has been a bane of the existence in a lot of ways, but they've also this is them shooting themselves in the foot. They're done. They've been done for a very long time, and many content creators have been saying death is on their door, and here it is. It is here today. So let's go over to Video Game Chronicle. Kotaku editor-in-chief resigns after criticizing management. Wow, you didn't like the management. You didn't like the way that they told you that you have to sit there and make 50 game guides in a week. Yeah, no, they're pushing you out. I'm sorry, it's not the way of things. Jen Glenderson says she believes the publication's new strategy is fundamentally misguided. Kotaku's editor-in-chief, Jen, has resigned from her role criticizing the management's team new strategy. Well, of course you are. You're going to sit there and criticize them because you're leaving. You don't care. You don't give two craps about the company anymore. All you cared about was spreading a message that has been damaging video games and the video game industry for a very long time. Glennon started her role at Kotaku editor-in-chief on October 10th, reporting to management at the site's owner, GO Media, which is what used to be Gawker. However, she today announced her resignation on X, saying, I have some personal news. I've resigned from Kotaku, and Jim Spanfeller is a her. It's absolutely degrading that they can't go out on a high note. They got to go the way of Jezebel, which used to also be under GO Media. The writing was on the wall for this one. The latter comment referenced a long-time running insult aimed at GO's Media, Jim Spanfeller, as detailed in a Slate article from 2019. More information on departure was reported by Aftermath. Stop using Aftermath. I can tell you right now, anyone using Aftermath, it's not good. Aftermath is run by Nathan Grayson, which is a Zoe Quinn shill when it comes out onto the into the world. He is the old school Gamergate journalist that sat there shilling Zoe Quinn. There's a few relationship things there as well. So don't use Aftermath. I can tell you right now, they've also got a checkered history. They are no better than what Kotaku was. So I don't see it becoming anything different. This is one thing that I said when I first saw this story. I was like, they're all just going to move over to Aftermath. The ones that care to continue to push the political agenda, they're just going to move over there, which itself consists of mostly of Kotaku former staff. Aftermath received a copy of Glenson's resignation letter, in which she told Spannerfield and Deputy Editor-Director Leah Goldman that she disagreed with the decision to focus on the site's priorities on guides instead of news. Well, you got Gawker. You've got these bigger entities. You've got Gizmodo. They're doing a much better job at writing these news articles anyway. Gizmodo has picked up so much more in the gaming sphere. Why does Kotaku even need to exist at this point? Gizmodo's the one that broke a lot of the stories over the open gaming license with Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast, how there was the backlash, and they actually covered it half decently. So I'm not surprised for them to say we're no longer going to write news stories on Kotaku, because that's what they never were supposed to do in the first place. At this point, keeping the name Kotaku, I think, is a mistake. I think they should just burn it all down, let it all just go, and call it something else. Call it anything else but Kotaku, because that namesake is going to continue following them around, and no one's going to take them seriously on the market. After careful consideration, I've concluded that my current management structure and decision-making process at GO Media are not aligned with my values or goals for Kotaku. I firmly believe the decision to invert Kotaku's editorial strategy to deprioritize news in favor of guides is fundamentally misguided given the current infrastructure of the site. No. They are sick and tired of having to clean up your BS. They're sick and Gizmodo and GO Media is probably absolutely sick and tired of watching gamers get attacked week after week after week over articles that are written by this absolute dreadful site. I, for one, am not going to miss Kotaku. It's a good day in the gaming industry. And you know what? For those that want to see something good in the gaming industry, this is a good thing. Kotaku going away is a very good thing. They've been used on many things. Alyssa McCante, I just dealt with this. She went on to a CBC radio podcast and absolutely tried to disparage and make the Sweet Baby Inc. more than what it is. She invoked the name of the 45th President Trump into this to try and rally their troops. That was the day before this all happened. So I'm not surprised to hear that this was the next step. They went, no, we're done with this. We're done with this stuff. In 2016, this is what pushed agendas and pushed things out there. We're not going to play any part in this, and I'm glad to see it. I'm really happy to see it. This decision directly contradicts by a month of traffic data, shows an astonishing disregard for livelihoods of the remaining writers and editors who work here. That's why in most cases, a lot of people use an archived version of your site, right? A lot of people sit there and stop listening to Kotaku, and they have sat there and told everyone time and again that what they're spreading is not really the truth. People want the truth. That's why they move away from Kotaku. That's why they don't listen to them in the first place. Aftermath also reports that Kotaku remaining staff is now expected to write 50 guides a week for the site, and that its front page selection, previously dedicated to breaking and major news stories, is now dedicated to tips and guides. Well, I gotta say, change the name. Don't leave it as Kotaku. If you want to go the route of tips and guides, you need to change the name and get rid of the name, because the name is not going to do any good for that, and it's just going to be a website that's out there. In some cases, at 50 guides, they paying maybe $10 a guide for that, so that's $500 a week. It's not even going to be worth it to stick around. So I think in a lot of ways, this is their way of just saying, we can walk away from Kotaku now. We can get rid of it. We can no longer support this. Now, Aftermath is a completely different story. Now, Nathan Grayson, he is, I believe, the owner of Aftermath. They're the ones that pretty much breaking this story. I'm not surprised. You go to your next in kin, where most of the Kotaku staff have already left and gone to Aftermath. So this is the site that's going to now cite their political stance on things. But who is Nathan Grayson? Well, here, Geo Media is effectively forcing Kotaku to pivot away from news and demand that its staff of 7 writers churn out an impossible number of guides per week, not what writers signed up for, and not why people visit Kotaku in the first place. Stupid and cruel. This is why I say, just change the name, let it die, let it just go off into the dust. Who is Nathan Grayson, though? Well, this is a wiki that's out there on the market. If you look him up online, you just put in his name and this comes up. Affiliations, Kotaku and Rock Paper Shotgun, another type of political gaming website out there. Nathan Grayson is a former contributor from Rock Paper Shotgun and current contributor for Kotaku. Well, not anymore. He became embroiled in controversy regarding allegations of journalistic impropriety when it was revealed that he had entertained an undisclosed romantic relationship with the subject of his coverage, independent game developer Zoe Quinn. We know Zoe Quinn from the Gamergate scandal. She's also the person that put up a Kickstarter and then used the funds to go on a trip to Japan and said that she was out of funds and the Kickstarter failed. Where does that really leave Nathan? Well, we'll have to wait to see. I can't wait for the next round of news articles. Kotaku might be dead, but they're just moving over to a different site, so we'll have to wait to see what this one does. Anyway, I'm your Pro Canadian Phoenix, Cindershadow. I'm signing off here. Have yourselves a great day. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you again very soon.